it looks like we're already hot, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Yes. So for whatever reason, our introduction didn't want to work tonight. So we're gonna go ahead anyway and do what we do. Well, welcome to Straight No Chaser, where we never dilute the issues, we only serve the hard stuff. Well, tonight we can't get started without introducing the man, the myth, the legend.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
How you doing this evening?
Great. It was a beautiful day today in Las Vegas.
Outstanding.
Outside. Man, what a great day.
Absolutely it was. Well, tonight we're going to talk about the issue that has been circulating all around town in every discussion board, every place in social media. It's been trending. And so tonight we have a couple of expert panelists to kind of help us talk about this thing tonight. And so we want to just kind of find out what folks were thinking about this whole issue with Pastor Jamal Bryant. And I'm sure everyone in town has heard by now what occurred, but in case you were one of the people living under a rock somewhere, hadn't heard what happened, in the latter part of December, Pastor Bryant and his wife, Dr. Carrie Turner, attended the 2025 United Negro College Fund Ball in Atlanta. And this, of course, is a big deal in the Atlanta community. And they ended up raising about $3 or $4 million for the United Negro College Fund. But that was overshadowed by a dress that was worn by Dr. Turner. And that evening, she had a black lacy strapless gown that had a sort of a flesh tone thing going on. And it sort of lit the internet on fire. There were some people that thought it was very nice, and then there were others that just were wondering what in the heck is going on. Well, as you all know and you heard, it sort of spiraled till it got to the point where you had Pastor Bryant defending himself, and then Bishop Wooten saying some other things that we're going to talk about, and it's just turned into a mess. So tonight, we're talking about pulpit politics, the dress that started a mess. So with that being said, we're going to introduce our guest for the evening, and we're just so happy to have these special people with us tonight. And of course, we're starting with ladies first, and we have Lady Jennifer Thomas. And we're just so happy to have you, Lady Thomas. And of course, she is married to Bishop Thomas from the Reconciliation Apostolic Ministries in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yes. And Lady Thomas, thank you for being on the show with us this evening.
Thank you for having me. And let me say you're very brave, but thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're just happy to have you. And then, of course, one of Baltimore's favorite, we have Reverend Dr. Ron Hankins, and he is the pastor of the Govans Presbyterian Church in Baltimore, Maryland. And in full disclosure, he was my pastor for many years when I was in Baltimore at the Trinity Presbyterian Church. And again, just another anointed brother who is really doing done some amazing things with his ministry in the Baltimore area. So
thank you
for being on, sir.
Thank you, my brother. So just fresh out of my therapy session from the loss of the Ravens, just right out of therapy and right here online. So yeah.
Well, brother, you know what?
Baltimore was in therapy, but we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right.
Later on, we're gonna light a candle and just have one big therapy session about that. That just didn't make any sense, you know.
Come on over here with the Cowboys fans. Just come on over. Come on
over.
Right.
And of course, I see Doc with his hand raised. Go ahead, Doc. What you got for us?
Dr. Hankins, can you coach?
Can I coach? I wish I could. I'd put in for that job or so, but then again, I don't know that. I'm gonna keep my day job. Keep the day job. just coast Christians.
Right. Right.
Well, it's interesting as we move into this whole issue with Pastor Bryant and that whole situation. I'm just going to get right to it. Let me see if I can pull up Pastor Bryant's comments, because he was, of course, defending his choice of the outfit that his wife had. And let me see if I can play a little bit of that, if you bear with me for just a second. Let's see if we can make this happen. Okay, here we go.
Head on. Because the other day, the internet went crazy about a dress my wife had on. Now, they didn't say anything about the $4 million that was raised for the United Negro College Fund. They never mentioned that she prayed until heaven came down. They never said anything about this was the largest fundraiser for HBCUs in the country. But insecure, jealous, petty, small-minded people got in their feelings and set up a false barometer of holiness based off of a dress. Now, you got to help some people, because some people have embraced the full knowledge of ignorance without any assistance for understanding. The dress was not see-through. The dress was flesh color. But because you ain't never been nowhere and ain't never been exposed to nothing, I needed to set the record straight. Y'all don't like this. I need to set the record straight. I bought the dress. And I like it. I don't care whether you like it or not. She ain't mad to y'all. She mad to me.
So Pastor Brian pretty much made that clear about how he felt about that. So I'd just like to hear from the panel. What are your thoughts?
What was the sermon about? Well, that couldn't have been the sermon. I imagine there was a sermon that was going on, and so I was curious. My initial thought is it is unfortunate. Satan has a way of deflecting, distracting, and redirecting. And there's been a whole lot of redirecting and misdirection going on. It is unfortunate that the money raised for the United Negro College Fund didn't become the focus, or that this ended up in pulpits as the focus rather than the gospel. So that's unfortunate. Satan is always at work, or so. I'll just start with that and pause for now or so. It's unfortunate of the major distraction that this has become. That's very unfortunate.
Right, I agree. I think it's more unfortunate for her. I don't know Pastor Bryant, but Dr. Cariana Turner Bryant happens to be my goddaughter. I was best friends with her mom in high school, and she's always been a dresser. She's always prided herself in her looks. She's gorgeous. She looks great. On the side of Pastor Bryant, I commend him for publicly defending her. He's correct. That's his wife. He bought the dress, whether we like it or not, and she wore the dress. That's them. I just believe that the whole situation was just too petty to go viral. When we have Black girls missing, we have people being kidnapped for their organs, we have gang violence, our sons are dying, killing each other, our young children are dying of fentanyl overdoses. There are so many other big things that we could talk about in the pulpit. I would like to see them fly a missing girls flyer. Say something about that. That's my premises. I don't know Pastor Bryant. I've never met him. I haven't seen Dr. Carrie Bryant in about 6 years. But I felt that she could have married up. That's just me.
Uh-oh.
I told you you're brave. You're brave for having me on here.
Bring it on. Let's hear it.
I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be nice.
No, this is
But
straight no
that's
chaser.
who
We can play that.
That's who she chose to say yes to. And she said yes to the dress on the day of marriage. And she said
Right.
yes to the dress on the night of this event. So
That's right.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But the scriptures does say, that as women, as wives, we are supposed to seek to please our husbands. So as I was reading some of the comments that was on Facebook saying she needs to please the Lord. Well, here we go. You can't please God if you don't please your husband. Yee.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Is there, and I agree, when we were talking about this earlier, there's so many larger issues facing the community that this has become center stage is I guess we will get to that. That's one of the concerns I had. But, one of the other things that I was just wondering is there a dress protocol among the wives of pastors, particularly whether you have a large church or a smaller church? I mean, was there some kind of thing that you do or you don't do? Obviously, I know you don't want to walk in there and have people throwing dollar bills at you, right? But
Building fund. Well, I'm joking. I'm kidding.
But is there such an animal?
People always have a box to put a pastor's wife in. I'm 30 years in. So at this point, I don't care. If my husband tells me I can't wear it, I don't wear it. If he disagrees with it, because I'm not only representing the church, I'm not only representing the Lord, but I'm also representing my husband. So I remember when I first became a pastor's wife, one of the rumbles about me was I didn't wear the sequin suits and the hats. I tried that. The hat didn't work for me. It just did not work. I'm just more of a hairstylist type person. But they always have boxes. The pastor's wife shouldn't do this. The pastor's wife can't do that. When in fact, the only thing that makes me a quote unquote first lady is the fact that I am married to him. It's not, there's no title, there are no books, there's nothing to tell us how to be a first lady. Now, different denominations such as the Kojic Church, in which Bishop Wooten is a bishop of, they have their pastors' wives, they're in order. They have a manual. They have certain events and certain times that they have to wear certain outfits. That's not my story, but I had to get over quickly. We pastors' wives, we go through some things. We go through some things that are pretty brutal too. So
sure. Well, the chat lines are lighting up, but before I do that, I couldn't go any further until we share what Bishop Wooten said about the situation. So let me see if I can cue that up, and then we'll dive right into this thing. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. All right. Here was what Bishop Patrick Wooten said about Bishop Wooten said about Pastor Jamal Bryant's wife's outfit. Let's take a listen.
A preacher presented his wife the other day, and I guess you call that a flesh-colored dress. I don't know. It's a black dress and give the illusion that she's not wearing anything underneath. And I heard the preacher when he defended her dress by saying, first of all, he bought the dress. And then he said, I want to address people who don't know anything, who haven't been anywhere, who don't know nothing. So I guess our objection to a man of the cloth presenting his wife in public looking like a $2 whore. Two. At least two. Now, I didn't say she was. I'm not talking about her. My statement is not about her. My statement is about him. I said he presented his wife, and he said he bought the dress. Those are his words, not mine. There is nothing classy about that. There's nothing modest about that. He said we haven't been anywhere. What I would like to know is where have you been? Where did he go? So I'll make sure that I never go there, because I don't want to go anywhere and I come back with that kind of a notion. Now I will say this, and this is a comment about my wife, not his wife. This is a comment about my wife. My wife wouldn't have done it, no matter what I said. She just would have said, honey, I'll wear this for you. I'll wear this for you at home when we know the grandkids aren't coming. Because there is such a thing as decency. Decency. Y'all don't like me. But in public, at an event where everyone will see, I don't know of a greater way for a man to demean his wife. And if he doesn't think that that is demeaning her, there is something wrong with him.
My. Well, let's start with the obvious. Because I think we heard that's quite a response. Now I think that's one of those comments that you go in church and you walk up, you just walk right up to the man, you put the powder in your hand, right? You just go up to him and say, what the hell did you just say? Then you know what I mean? Because that was completely out of pocket, in my humble opinion. And that's one of those comments where, you say, where you going to church? I'm going to wherever his church is today, and we get ready to have a conversation. And a whole lot of furniture would have been moving that day. That's ridiculous. And so that's where I stand on that.
Yeah. Not only that, but again, when you're talking from the pulpit, and I'll say this, like I said, straight no chaser, and I want to get to your theme, which talks about church politics in a moment. But going back to what Lady Jen said, defending your wife I think is an honorable thing to do, and I don't think Bishop Wooten was wrong in some regards. I think the point that he was trying to make, the overall point, where as spiritual leaders we do have a responsibility, and that includes our spouses, whether you're a lady pastor and your husband, or you're a male pastor. You're in a leadership role, and I'm reminded of 1 Corinthians 6 verses 12 that talks about things being lawful, but not everything is convenient. Not everything is is appropriate or good. So I commend both men for both gentlemen for making the argument. Unfortunately, as leaders, we have to be careful when we're in that pulpit, because I think people went Charlie Brown with all they heard was want, 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 $2 hoe.
$2 hoe, right.
Absolutely.
When it comes out like that, then
but you see that's the problem that I have. That's the problem that I have, Dr. Hankins. See, that message was inappropriate, because that message says, "Come down here and whip my ass." Here's a friend. That's what that says. If he had called my wife a $2 hoe, I'd have given him a $30 ass whip. You know what I mean?
As a Presbyterian pastor, I can't come out the bag like that as a Presbyterian, because we don't have armor bearers.
Well, let me say this. Okay,
we don't have no armor bearers.
Let me correct myself. I'd have whipped his ass in the name of Jesus. How about that? How about that? Because
okay, so
I mean, that's crazy. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is, it's okay to disagree. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think there is a way to disagree with folk and not have it come out like that. You know what I mean? Now, personally, I looked at the outfit, and I I didn't have a problem with it. You know what I mean? And I get it. You know, when I go shopping for my wife, there are things that I know that my wife looks nice in, and I want her to wear. I don't care what the world says. I like it. I bought it. You know what I mean? I know she looks good in it, and that's how we doing. You know what I mean? I don't care. You know what I mean? Now, if she doesn't like it,
right,
that's one thing. You know what I mean? But if I bought it, if she wants to wear it, I don't see what the problem is. You know? Right. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think you're wrong. I believe that people argue with the Bible all the time, and I'm not talking about non-believers. I'm talking about so-called Christians. But the Bible, that's what it clearly states. So they can argue with the Bible all day long. That's not going to change. Would I have worn a dress such as that? Probably not now. But some years back, if I had a husband that wanted me to wear it, I probably would have. But the thing of it is that it just broke my heart, because I know her, and I don't care how you dance around the words. It's just wordplay is what it is. He referenced another man's wife as a $2 whore. And I probably would have been in line with you, because that was disrespectful. Not just you trying to defend her, but you totally disrespected her. You didn't call him that. You didn't say anything about him like that. So it's just wordplay, and I think that was awful. It was awful coming from a man of prestige such as him, with such a huge platform. If you don't want your women to wear that, then that should be a conversation that's not in the pulpit. Call a women's meeting. That shouldn't be in the pulpit. And I want to know how much Jesus was preached that day, who got saved that day, who came to Christ that day, who wanted to be baptized that day. I cannot agree with what he did. Period. End of story. I'm a woman. That hurt me. That brought tears to my eyes, that you would talk about your sister in Christ like that.
Sure. And and I think that's also one of the things that sort of contributes to the attitudes that folk have now about churches in general, while folks are sort of disengaging because they think that there is that, I guess, that holier than thou vibe coming from folks, and it's like, you know what, I'm not dealing with all that. I'm gonna,
Right.
I'm gonna check it out on Facebook, or I'm gonna do my own thing, or I'm gonna go somewhere else, or you know what I mean. I just think that sort of contributes to that kind of sentiment that's taking a hold of what's going on right now. I mean, what do you guys think?
I think you go ahead.
I'll take a slightly different approach. I agree with Lady Jen. I think that going after a man's wife or any man, woman, child, anything. I understand the point. There is. He was making a point, and I personally wouldn't have went at it that way. In regards to the dress, I kind of cringed a little bit because it did. As a pastor, it take all my strength to keep my eyes up, looking at people's eyes. That's
Lord
what.
Jesus.
Look at the eyes. No matter if you got neon signs pointing to all other parts of the body, you look eye to eye. Stay with the eyes. I thought the dress probably would have made it a little bit difficult to do that. However, we don't come to church as the dress patrol. At least we're not supposed to. There is a church politics, and you mentioned something at the outset of the program in regard to, is there politics in the church? And there is. And it kind of points to, I'll use Romans 14, starting at verse 13, that talks about not passing judgment on each other, but more importantly, not putting a stumbling block or hindrance in the way of another person. And that does have a bit of there's a leadership and a responsibility component that church folks, church leaders, and that includes first wives, first ladies, first husbands, whatever the category may be. We have a responsibility to operate and present ourselves in a level that does not cause people to stumble, whether it's a lady wearing a rather revealing dress, or if it's a pastor wearing jeans so tight that he gonna get yeast infection. I mean, if you can we'll put it on either end, but there is a responsibility that leaders have to be appropriate in our speech, which kind of, Jamal could have defended his wife without telling people you ain't never been nowhere, you don't know nothing. On that end, he could have defended his wife without going there. And at the same time, Bishop Wooten probably could have said, we have a responsibility not to cause people to stumble. And that's in our action as well as in our presentation. And he could have did that without calling the man's wife a $2 hoe. So on both ends, I think there's a center in between these two extremes. There's a center that leads us to gospel truth. And does not allow Satan to take this and run off in a distraction.
Correct.
And get focused on everything else.
Well, I think about the scripture, to whom much is given, much is required. Bishop Wooten is a man that is highly respected. Pastor Bryant has some issues. I would say that Bishop Wooten is held to in a high regard as well, to not be reckless with his words. Everybody knows who Pastor Bryant is. We understand him. We see him all the time. He's always been in the news somewhere, and the focus of gossip. I was disappointed in Bishop Wooten. The Bible tells us clearly, if you see your brother or your sister overtaken in a fault, ye that are spiritual, we are supposed to restore people in the spirit of meekness, considering ourselves. That was not trying to restore that young man in no spirit. I have issue with Bishop Wooten on that. Because if you have it, you're a man of holiness. You're a man that's you've arrived to where you can mentor these younger brothers. To call his wife a $2 whore was just devastating. That devastated me, and I don't like it. The only reason I don't go to toe with people because I can is because I have a husband. If I was single, it would be something different.
Dr. T, we haven't heard from you, sir, because we just got to hear your thoughts, brother.
Well,
thanks, Dr. T. Now, moving on. No, just kidding.
well, my background, I grew up Catholic. So, we didn't have the first lady. We had the nuns with the rulers. So understanding and in certain churches, the role of a first lady, but also listening to Lady Jen and Dr. Hankins is the way I was brought up is worry about yourself. That's the first thing. And so I've seen it on social media. So the first question I asked is, did she wear it at church? And the answer was no. It was basically a business function for a fundraiser, right? So, you want to wear your nice gown. So I'm like, okay, that dress, you have to kind of look twice at it just to make sure, right? Mm-hmm. So, and then my thought was, you don't want to, you don't want to body shame women, because that's not good too, right? And I'm thinking, listening to everything, if and I think Lady Jen, you stated it, that okay, within the church, maybe there should be a discussion. If it offended anybody, I'm not a member of the church. I'm not part of their family, so I'm like, this is none of my business. But why? If church members have a problem with it, I understand that, but they need to talk about it amongst themselves and not with us. Because technically, years ago, I used to be the church musician at a church, and we transitioned. We had a nice sized church, and then we transitioned to a mega church. And the pastor said, come as you are, because we used to wear suits, tie, right? Every Sunday. So I thought he was joking. So I show up with my suit on, ready to go, ready to play. Everyone's in jeans. It's Las Vegas summer. Some of them had shorts on, flip-flops. I'm like, to me, that's not church, right? Come as you are like that. But, I still think it's body shaming. It's none of my business. But if there needs to be a conversation within that church, I totally understand. And going online or talking about it negatively like that, I just, it's kind of harsh, because people don't throw stones with living in glass houses, right? So that's my thing. So me, I don't know. Again, it's none of my business. It's a nice dress. I don't think I would want my wife to wear it, because I wanted to. That's me.
Yeah.
I'm selfish. No, you're covered. Neck on down.
Unless it's there at your house. I like what the bishop said. He said the grandkids ain't coming this weekend. It's just Pop and G-Mom. So hey, go for it.
So my question is, what are we supposed to swim in? You want us to swim in a long dress? What are we supposed to swim in? What are we supposed to do sports in? Are we supposed to wear long dresses? I mean, what? Because I came up like that. When I first got saved, I got saved in the Apostolic Church. And when I saw the dress situation, I couldn't understand it. I followed the rules. I did that. But let me tell you why I had a problem. Because a nasty man, older man, could not contain himself, that raped me when I was fully clothed. That's why I think it's all about the people's perception that sees it. So anything you wear, I was fully clothed with a turtleneck sweater on. Anything you wear, if a man has an issue or if a woman has an issue, if they're full of lust, it's gonna happen. We cannot judge people like that. Now I can say this: a tree is known by the fruit it bears. I got it. So we don't wear things. I'm a very modest dresser. We don't wear things to, excite other people. But I just need to know. I can't wear my long maxi dress playing basketball with my grandkids. I can't do that. I can't swim in a long dress or whatever. I don't understand it. And I know that's the premise of the world. The real problem is, people of God, the real problem is you need to discipline your flesh, because that upset a whole. Women were jealous, and I know that they are of her. Women were jealous. Then you probably had women that like Pastor Bryant, or women that probably been there, or all kinds of people, men that look and say, oh my God, oh my goodness. The whole thing is you have to discipline your own flesh. I didn't think the dress should have caused that much. She looked good in it. She did. I could be mad at her because she is fine. She's gorgeous. I probably am mad at her about that. But anyway, I love who I am. I have no problems with that. So that's where I stand. Coming from my own experiences, if somebody want to lust, they will lust. It doesn't matter. You can have on a full alligator. You can have on a clown suit, whatever. If a person has an issue with lust, that's their issue. And I'm sorry. I don't mean to upset nobody, but I do, because the truth is the truth. We cannot have this pharisaical attitude anymore. We're trying to get people into the church. That was a fight that never should have gone viral.
Sure. Well, and one of the questions that came in off the chat is, this was an outside event. So, I mean, even if you look at it in that context, they were not at church. They were at an event, a black tie event, where everybody, you had some people there that had on no socks and those little, wearing their nephews' pants and shoes, like some of these guys dressing now with the little tight jackets on. Then you had some folks that, had on sequins and bow ties and suede and leather and all kind of stuff. So again, was she not supposed to enjoy a night out on the town and wear what she wanted to wear? That's where I'm having some issues, just like, a lot of the folks are. This was not a church event. This was the United Negro College Fund, and everyone was in there with their Atlanta finest on. So whatever that was. And we've all of us have been to those affairs. You have some folks that come in dressed to the nines. Some folks come in with a turtleneck on and a blazer. It goes from A to Z. Right. So again, I'm not understanding what the problem was.
I guess I'm going to be the Grinch in this discussion.
Come on, Grinch.
Well, just a small Grinch.
That's all right. Come on, you're entitled to be a Grinch.
My heart is growing. It's big, but I guess one could make the argument is church brick and mortar. Or is the church who we are as individuals. Right. So whether you're inside brick and mortar or whether you're in ShopRite, represent the church. So there's one argument that could be made in regards to that. It's not whether or not, and context is everything. Bathing suit is perfectly appropriate at Sunday school, but it wouldn't be appropriate at elementary school.
Correct.
Right. So there's context information. No, you shouldn't have to wear long gowns, or some people won't participate in gym because it requires wearing shorts. That's foolishness that we've had to deal with for decades. But again, getting back to our initial discussion, our initial comments, where this is an unfortunate distraction. I personally, like I said, if that's what she's going to wear, that's what you're going to. And as a mature Christian, you should look at it, smile, and say, "Bless the Lord, beautiful," and keep on moving.
Right.
Unfortunately, this internet age, we got this spiral,
Mhm.
and then it was exacerbated
Mhm.
by, because we got this ooh, this shock society
Yes.
where housewives of whatever city you from,
Yes.
ooh, you
Yes.
hear what she said, ooh, you hear what she said, and
Yeah.
unfortunately that has mutated
Yes.
into the church,
You're
where
right.
we got this shock value. And I'll say that both from, I don't like to criticize other preachers. I'll just say that both clergy men could have been less shock oriented in their response, and if there were concerns, hit the concerns, but then again focus it back on Christ. What is Christ saying about all of this, and keep it moving, keep it focused, not on the smaller part of the conversation, but the greater part of the conversation. How do we show love? Calling her a name like that publicly does not bring people closer to Christ,
Right.
and we can do better. We
Yes.
can do better. So, but thank you, Lady Jen, for your
Yes.
very eloquently and passionately
Thank you.
spoken words. I'm with you 100%.
Thank you.
I think we can do better as we try to have this conversation. We can do better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, I know that Lady Jen might disagree with me, but let me look at the Good Housewife's Guide.
My copy didn't come in. Yours came in already? I'm waiting for my copy to come. It didn't come in yet. I held up in the mail.
She did not have a ribbon in her hair. That's probably the only violation we have in this guide. So, so that's all I have to say about that.
You and this Good Housewives guy. My husband loves that Good Housewives guy. The ribbon in your hair, right? Make sure you don't say anything to him. You give him his time when he comes home, and you have his dinner prepared. Yeah, okay.
I think the reason I haven't seen mine yet, because my wife got it, threw it in the fireplace as soon as it arrived. I haven't received it in about 3 or 4 years yet. That's what's burning in the fireplace, that Good Housewife guy.
There's extra training, so we have all levels, right? So,
let me ask you.
I think it is very important. Again, the hierarchy of that church and how that works is, I think it's their business, none of our business, and then we move forward.
Well, let me ask this question, because you were talking about the comments that the bishop made. Now, what has this done in terms of, and I'm going to put this in historical perspective. Decades ago, the Black church was the anchor for the Black community. We met there, we learned how to read there, they got it, the mission, you know what I mean? They were instrumental in the civil rights movement, it soup to nuts, if you will. How has this, in your opinion, created an even bigger rift among the Black churches now? Because clearly when you listen to the audience reaction to Pastor Bryant, those folks were all in on what he was saying. And when you listen to what Bishop Wooden said, his folks were all in. And so that this whole thing over a dress is just nonsense. And look at what this is doing to one of the last bastions, if you will, that advocates for the community historically. You have if you think about this historically, you have like the Urban League, the ACLU, the NAACP, the Divine Nine organizations, and the Black Church, among a few others, that have historically advocated for our community. And I think this kind of nonsense has created a division over the most trivial, stupid thing that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And now instead of us talking about, okay, what are we going to do about the fact that, people are attacking DEI, people are trying to erase our history from the military institutions, those types of things. And we're talking about a damn dress.
Yeah.
Excuse my French. A dress.
Right.
at a social event. I mean, so what is the long-lasting impact? And I'll say this, and I have to say this. I say this to my wife all the time. Folks who do not have the interest of different groups of folks, all they really need to do is stand back, because if this kind of stuff keeps up, you're just going to see self-destruction 101. You're not going to need any outside agitation.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I would say that I have seen, for causes such as this, the bickerings and the disputings, I have seen our people leave the Black church and go to the other churches.
Yeah. Yep.
And I bet you Becky, the pastor's wife, who probably doesn't use First Lady title, and I think it's sad that we have to use a title because of the disrespect. We don't respect each other as Black people. You want to call, so the thing of it is that they'll go to Becky's church and then and they'll serve Becky, but they don't have to call her First Lady Becky, but they will respect her more than they would respect one of us. And I think that's sad. I've seen it happen. No argument there. I've seen it happen. We don't respect each other as Black people. That's a problem. That's bad. And remember, it was part of the agenda. And I know they say the Lynch letter isn't real, but I'm watching it. It's happening. It has happened. The events have happened. So it's always about division with us. No division nowhere else. Why? Because I believe that we're a special people. But the thing of it is that if we don't know we're special, we're killing each other. We're introducing all kinds of drugs into our own communities, led by others, because we don't have the money to do that. So we're killing each other while everybody else is multiplying. And I know people will probably argue with me about this one. From abortions to everything else, we're killing each other. I said it.
I'm going to, just real quick, I'm going to share some of the comments that have been coming in. We have one comment that says, Bishop Wooten needs the Will Smith treatment. They're going hard. Have Will Smith slap him. The pulpit isn't what it used to be. Let's see. We have Bishop Wooten is known for blasting and degrading people all the time. He's judgmental. He just did this with Leandra Johnson. He's a jerk. Her dress was appropriate at the gala. Another comment came in: so sick of women saying a man should control himself while dressing immodestly. It has nothing to do with men. How about you respect God's house? Another comment came in that said, let's see. We were raised to dress a certain way for events, music, etc. Times have changed. I don't care for it, but younger generations were raised different. Right. This person works in retail. Says, I've asked many times to dress like you are selling something for $10,000. Just shaking my head. Another comment says that people don't respect wives anymore. Another comment said he's probably mad because his wife doesn't look like Pastor Bryant's. Another comment said, how about minding your own business? I'm going to get to some of the other comments, but I just wanted to share that the comments have been coming in hot and heavy, and you've been kind of lighting it up just in terms of those comments. But one other comment that came in earlier, Lady Jen, and that was, particularly about let me see. I want to make sure I get it right. Let me see if I can get it up here. Of course, when it's game time, I can't find it. Let me see. I'll try to find it.
Well, while you find it, I'll say this. My comment about men needing to control themselves, not only men, but women too. I was 13 years old when that happened to me. So that comment, that had made no sense to me. But the thing of it is that we all need to control ourselves. Period. In the
Sure.
story. You can't take what's not yours.
Sure.
And I know that was off track, but yeah. So we do need to control ourselves.
And another comment came in that you can't please, you can't please God unless you please your husband.
I said that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And can you clarify that one?
Yeah, because here's the thing. The Bible says that, and people argue with the Bible. I choose to let that be my guideline. Now, if you don't, it's not specific to you. But the Bible does tell us that I think it's in Titus, you have to be obedient to your own husband. And it's not obedient like slave obedience. It's have a relationship with your own husband first.
Okay.
So I can't come to church and serve God or serve the pastor, and I'm not taking care of my husband. It's that simple.
And would that fall into what you're wearing?
Yes, it falls into anything. If you have given your life over to live according to the covenant with Jesus Christ, yes.
Okay. I'm just sharing what's on there.
And I'm all right. I'm happy.
Sure. Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna always have to make sure that we get clarification on these things so that we can understand everybody's perspective. But I will say that I think that personal preference, just in my humble opinion, doesn't necessarily relate to your godliness. I think that it relates to personal preference. For example, this is the thing that my wife loves when I wear my black socks and brown sandals. She just thinks that.
Okay, Mike, we're gonna have to talk about that. We're gonna have to talk about that.
That's what she wants. That's what she wants him to wear.
That's right.
You should know better. You're from Baltimore. You should know better.
That's right. So I'm just going to give a hypothetical. So let's just say that I come to church, and I've got on a muscle shirt and some Speedos. You know what I mean? And I come in and I'm enjoying the worship and I'm doing my thing and I'm tithing and I'm helping to give out Christmas coats and I'm leading this, that, and the other. But this is what I choose to wear. I want to come in my Speedos and my muscle shirt. And so does that relate to my godliness?
It shows the condition of your heart. Why would you wear that? What do you want people to see? What do you want people to know about you? You're an exhibitionist or something? I mean, what?
Okay, let's see what I am. Okay, let's park it right there. I'm an exhibitionist, I want everybody to see the true glory of God in my eyes. You know what I mean? Okay. So I'm putting it out there. Okay. All my glory is on full display. But I am that person that you can rely on if somebody is in need, if I've helped the sick, helped the afflicted. You know what I mean? I've done all those things. But my wardrobe is who I am. So where is the connection, between what I'm wearing and what my actions are or what my beliefs are?
Right. Well, the connection is what's spiritual. First of all, and then the offended people will cover you up. So, hey, they'll put a choir robe on you.
Okay. But even if they do, but they can't say that I'm not a godly man. They might challenge they might say, now, why is this dude walking in here with black socks, dress shoes, Speedos, and a muscle shirt?
They would.
But this is the first guy to put that extra offering in or to say, hey, look, I have some extra coats I want to take down to the homeless shelter. I saw this guy that was standing on the corner who was shivering. I took the coat off my back and gave it, you know what I mean? But my appearance is saying, that, I have some wardrobe challenges, but my actions are saying that I am a biblical person.
Right. Well, this is why you have your fellowships. Remember, I mentioned earlier that should be a women's meeting.
Yeah.
There should be a women's fellowship, a men's fellowship, and this is where those little cell groups is where we get our training from. What I had my former pastor's wife ask me one time. She said, "You see what these women are wearing?" I do. Well, don't you teach them how to dress? I don't. Because if I see you and where I know the condition of your heart, I know where I can help you, not tear you down, but I know where I can help you.
Well,
it doesn't bother me. I'm not a jealous wife. I don't care. My husband is fine. He crude all of that stuff, but I'm not a jealous woman. I don't look at women to say, "Oh my God, she looks better than me. Oh my God, I need that." That's not my life. I came out of the projects. I was a horrible person. I was mean as a rattlesnake. I know y'all don't believe that, but I had some really bad challenges. And when the Lord saved me, I mean, my life is so different. It took a few years, but my life is so different. I just love people. I don't care about your Speedos. You don't make me feel no kind of way. But the offended people, they're gonna cover you up. So I don't know how to answer that question to anybody's satisfaction. I know me, and I know what the Lord can do.
Sure.
You wouldn't offend me.
Right.
I would probably be on the floor laughing, but you don't offend me.
Mike, I think as a pastor, I would welcome that brother in and welcome his heart and his contribution, and maybe over the course of time.
I agree.
Try to shepherd and encourage. I could use the reverse parable type of thing that Jesus said. You notice that lady over there was looking at you kind of strong with them Speedos on, brother. I might even joke about it or so, but I would find a humble way over the course of time, without breaking or insulting him. When we were a child, we thought as a child, we spoke as a child, we acted as a child, but as we started to become adults, as we grew in the Lord, we put away the childish thing. And I would take the time to welcome his heart, while at the same time trying to set an example and pointing out to him that there are some things that, when we're at the gym, hey, I'm gonna meet you at Planet Fitness Wednesday. I ain't got no Speedos on like that, but I'm gonna meet you and I'm gonna have my gear on. We're gonna work out. But at Bible study, I would try to find some diplomatic way, led by the Spirit, to encourage his spirit and his heart, and at the same time try to mentor him into a way that he can come where you feel comfortable, but also be cognizant. And you're absolutely right, Lady Jen. I've seen women licking their lips at me, and I got full-blown robe on. I mean, I'm wearing a parachute robe. And you still wiping your mouth like you're looking at it. So some people, it's in their mind. No matter if you're wearing Speedos or a robe, they're still going to feel that way. But in this example, Chief, I would welcome and encourage and form a brotherhood and continue to move forward. And then over the course of time, there could be an adjustment, but it has to be it's got to be from within his spirit, not telling him you are wrong or you out of order, beating the brother down. I find a way to coach and encourage and walk with the brother in a way where everything is balanced.
Right. Or find a way to let him know that the Spirit of the Lord can make changes in your life like he did me. It takes the Spirit of God will lead and guide you into all truth and all righteousness.
Mhm. Well, and I hear you. And like I said, I just think that I think sometimes, it appears that we get caught up in the wrong things determining what people's intentions and abilities are. I can recall, years ago being at a forum and someone asking a young guy who was attending, after he introduced himself, say, "Hey man, that's a nice tie on," only to find out that that's all the dude had. You know what I mean? And so, and conversely, when we look at events such as parties and big galas and whatnot, most people that attend these things, and we've all been to fraternity things and the links and all the other organizations that have big events, and folks are they got on there Sunday and Monday finest. You know what I mean? Some people come in there with speakers attached to their lapels and batteries and all kind of stuff running those suits and dresses. You know what I mean? And for them, that's, hey man, I'm doing my thing. And that guy or girl is, he or she, they're the first ones at the table when you start talking about, let's do something for the community. You know what I'm saying? So I just, that's why I just say we just need to be cautious about judging people and their commitment to being godly based on what they're wearing. You know what I mean? I think actions speak louder than the wardrobe, in my opinion.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
I tell a story about the person that broke down on the road about a half mile outside of the church, and 10 cars went by, suits, blue suits, red tie, pretty red, drove by the person, never even looked their way. And the person that actually pulled over for him was the guy, a biker with the long beard, rubber bands around the beard,
That's right.
Earrings and tattoos and everything. But that one who stopped to pull over and said, "Can I help you?" And it's like, yeah, all these church folks just rolled past me and nobody even stopped to check on me. So yeah, the way you dress, especially in this day and age, because a blue suit, white shirt, and red tie, this day and age, look, we know from I won't get into politics and all that. I ain't gonna go the route of people. I ain't gonna start blasting people. But we know that a blue suit, white shirt, and red tie don't mean you're a good person. And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll put it right there.
But I'm not going down. I ain't going down. I'm just going to say you can't judge people just because they're wearing white shirt, red tie.
Right.
All good.
And I guess we can park it right there, Doc. What you think?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, Lady Jen, we really appreciate you and Dr. Hankins coming on this evening, because this is just one of those things that when I heard this, I was like, what in the heck are we arguing about now? And I thought there was some, like somebody was stealing from the church, or you got caught doing some crazy mess. You know what I mean? You caught somebody with a 10-year-old girl or something, and I'm like, wait a minute, you talking about a dress? No, really? What is that all about? So again, I just think that there are just so many bigger issues facing the community as a whole, not just the African American community, but as a whole. That this kind of foolishness is just stuff that doesn't need to be there. And quite frankly, and I'm gonna say this is a straight no chaser. I think the bishop, with a guy with all of his tenure and as old as he is, should be the guy that knows, I've been around long enough to know this is trivial. We need to I'll call him and we'll have a private conversation if he felt that strongly.
Exactly.
This is just stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'd say it if he was on here. That was stupid. You know, that's almost like you're the older brother. And your mom said, well, wait a minute, boy, you're 20 years old. That boy's 11. Why are you arguing with an 11-year-old?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's almost the same thing. And I just think this is where, you know, this is the example of you looking to the elders to lead, to be elders and show that wisdom. He didn't do that.
Yes.
That was inappropriate. It was stupid and it was unnecessary. And I said it. So I'm sorry.
You sound like me. I said it.
I said it. I said it, and I'll say it again.
Said what I meant, and I meant what I said.
meant exactly
right.
what I said. You know what I mean?
I know you're wrapping it up, but I'll say this.
Sure.
But I'll say this, you know, if sometimes we wives have a responsibility to do what we're supposed to do, you know, but at the same time, you can't hate yourself. You can't be down on yourself because of what you're not or what you don't look like. Because like I said, a lot of that came from the premise of jealousy. They have hair everywhere. You can buy some. You can get you one of those little tuck 'em ups. Get you a waist trainer. Put a little makeup on your face. I came up in a church where we didn't wear makeup. And wasn't nobody anointed. But the thing of it is that there are things to do to help yourself with. You don't have to be jealous and you don't have to be hateful. I've never seen such a hateful community of church people until now. It is ridiculous. The Christian army is the only army that kills themselves.
Yeah. And I got to clarify. I got a message that says I'm petty. You know, I whip his ass. I want to make it very clear. If somebody called my wife a $2 hoe, it's going down. You know, so I just want to make sure I'm petty like that too. You know what I mean? But also, but to your point though, I think this is where you're right. This is where you get together in the church and get the ladies together. And matter of fact, you should have in church announcements. You know, you should have women who can't control their edges ministry will be meeting every Tuesday.
Look, Lady Jen will be our speaker. She will introduce you to instant control.
That's right. That's right.
Don't get paid for that.
That's right. The ladies over 30 would run over shoes. They'll be meeting on Friday morning at the back of the church. But anyway,
it's time for us to love each other. It's too much hate going on. And the church shouldn't be hateful. We're hateful of other denominations. You don't believe like me. I don't like you. I hate you. Sure. It's time for all of that to just end, because the bottom line is God just doesn't have love. He is love. He is the love that the world needs to see. And he is the answer. You know, Andre Crouch wrote it so beautifully. Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him, there's no other. There is no other way. But the point is, if I'm supposed to be a representative of Jesus Christ, how can I tell you about that when I'm being a Pharisee, a Sadducee, and I'm being hateful and demeaning to my brothers and my sisters? We must do better. I agree with the Reverend on that. We must do better. I'm going to be quiet. I have really enjoyed this. Thank you for having me.
And we really appreciate Dr. Hankins and Lady Jennifer. And we really appreciate both of you coming on today, and kind of sharing your thoughts with us. And hopefully we will never have to have this conversation again.
Amen.
We'll get together. We'll talk about some other things that are a little more uplifting to the community, and we will be able to just kind of look back on this one and chuckle a little bit. So,
yeah.
With that being said, we're going to get on out of here and break this thing out. And Dr. D, take us out, brother.
All right. Before we go, I just want to say thoughts and prayers to the young lady that lost her life in Minnesota. There was an incident with an ICE agent. I don't know the details. I was hearing when I was coming home at work, so I don't know the details, but soul is lost. So she was a mother of a 6-year-old young lady. So our thoughts and prayers need to go out to her and that community in Minnesota. So with that being said, thank you for listening to Straight No Chaser Talk Radio. And thank you, guests. It's been a pleasure. Have a good evening.
You
Bye.
too. Bye-bye.
Straight No Chaser Talk Radio. No watered down issues. We serve the good stuff. Good stuff. Only one.